at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas, the prairie sky is wide and high. Deep in the heart of Texas, the sage in bloom is like perfume. Deep in the heart of Texas, reminds me of the one I love. Deep in the heart of Texas.
Now, that's I think like the Texas state anthem. I am now a Texan. I live in Texas. My house is in Texas. I live in Houston, but I also live in Austin. I work in Austin. I live in Houston. It's just a breath of fresh air because this is the remnants of our republic. The last of the United States is in Texas. It's in Florida, South Dakota, Tennessee. There's only a few places left. We're going to have to take back the rest of our country. One of the core tenets of what it means to be an American is the belief in your constitutional rights, your First Amendment, but more importantly, the Second Amendment. Now, a big part of being an American and living in the United States is you're supposed to have the ability of self-defense. Other countries don't have that. You're either a victim or you're the criminal, and the criminals have a lot of the protections. That's the way it is in a lot of in the United States, unfortunately, right now. In New York, I'm doing the video is going to be, that's coming up directly after this, is about a man who defended himself against home invasion robbers in New York. And even though he was able to get acquitted because of self-defense, they found a loophole saying that his gun was not registered. And they're going to give the man 4 years in prison for self-defense. Now, where I live at in Texas, that's something we don't have to worry about. But go ahead, listen to this story.
Shaken up when we got here just because he's like, I got lucky, that he wasn't here at the place.
Javier works there and is usually the one taking cash to the bank. But this time it was his boss visiting the bank who was a target as he left the bank to return to work.
He returned to
Actually, no, that's another happy story. This is the one from yesterday.
Holiday rush, it begins. TSA is back, but not fully recovered.
We begin with brand new details in a deadly home invasion we've been following since our noon newscast.
In the last half hour, HPD said 2 men were shot while breaking into an apartment in Highland Village. This all happened off Essex Lane around 10 o'clock this morning. Trayson Bragg has been there for hours now. He joins us.
Now, I live in the Galleria area of Houston. I live in a gated community in a neighborhood called Tanglewood. I live in a big, beautiful home. We don't have to lock our doors. We wish somebody would make an attempt on my house or my neighbor's house. We would greatly appreciate you donating your body to science if you do so. See, in Texas, we're not California, we're not New York, we're not these other places where they're telling you your items are not more valuable than the life of the person who's trying to steal them. I disrespectfully disagree. See, I'm an American, right? If you want to come take what is mine that I've worked for, I don't care how insignificant it might seem to you, it's mine. So instead of me replacing the items that you stole, you're going to have to replace your black ass relatives. Because let's be honest, it's not everybody. It's not a bunch of Jewish guys breaking into houses. It's not a bunch of Asians kicking in doors. No, let's just be honest. You're going to have to replace your relatives before I have to replace my items in Texas. And that's the way it should be. And honestly, that's why when you come to a city like Houston, it's more black people than Atlanta, but it's not Atlanta. See, the people here they're way better behaved because they understand any of the stuff you think you can do in these other states like California, like assault, home invasion, robberies. People, homeowners and property owners, they're afraid to do something to you because they might be prosecuted. They might end up in jail. You don't got to worry about that here in Houston. You're going to get an award. You can get a Medal of Honor. We welcome you. See, the police will tell you you're your own first line of defense. That's why you don't see tons of police here in Houston. See, they're supposed to show up to clean up the mess. You're supposed to handle your candle. You are armed. We have a constitutional carry here. You are you're supposed to protect your family, your property, yourself. You're supposed to call the police to come clean up the mess you made. The people here understand that. So you don't see a bunch of fights. You don't see a bunch of loud people robbing people. You don't see a bunch of ghetto nonsense. And I've been living here for a few years now in Houston. I'm from California. I thought it would have been way worse down here. Wrong. And I've been to other black cities. Houston is the best city in the entire republic. It's the best city in the country. You don't lean on police when you can protect yourself. Everybody is armed. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. So the crime you're going to see in other cities rampant in the hood, you're not having those problems here. You know, when Houston was real bad once upon a time, it was before Katrina. After Katrina came, all the real ghetto, the real hood people from New Orleans all got shipped to Houston. And Houston used to have hoods and gangs and different sides, and they used to beef with each other. And they used to be ghetto. But when they seen real ghetto people came and those New Orleans people started kicking the shit out of these Houston people and robbing them and beating them up and taking their stuff and selling drugs and all, the Houston population decided they are going to come together. No more gangs, no more. We're just Houston. And they ran those New Orleans people the fuck out of here. And after that, people started doing business and they wanted to be professionals. They didn't want to act like those people. Because, you know, when you get around real ghetto people and you start looking at like, is that how we act? Is that how we? No. Houston people are better than that now. And you have the invasion from New Orleans to thank for it. But because of the laws here in self-defense, there's not a bunch of like the stuff we have in California, the flocking, the home invasion robberies and all that. We don't have those issues down here. Because good luck if you come out here looking to do that. And it'll be and you will have luck. You will luck up on something.
This live with the details he just learned. Fill us in, Trayson.
That's right. Well, we're learning from police that shooting actually took place right here at the Gale Apartments that you see here behind me. Police say it took place around 10 this morning. Take a look at what the scene looked like earlier today when we first arrived. Here's what we know so far.
I know exactly where these apartments are. These apartments are literally not that far from where I live. This is about 6-7 minutes. I think there was a girl I used to date named Ashley. This is where her and her dog used to live, in these apartments. That is insane. I know where this is.
Now, investigators are telling us that 3 men used a piece of concrete to force their way into a unit they were attempting to burglarize. They say a man who lives inside that unit realized what was happening and grabbed his gun, shooting 2 of those suspects. One died here at the scene, according to police, and the other was pronounced dead at a hospital.
Bravo. Well played. Well played. You know what? We got to go back to the anthem.
The coyotes wail along the trail, deep in the heart of Texas. The rabbits rush around the brush,
Hey,
deep in the heart of Texas.
now you see, I'm not celebrating death. I'm celebrating life. See, the person who lived at this house that was being invaded was supposed to be a victim. These were armed intruders that used a cinder block to smash in the door. Do you think that they were going to leave him alive? I don't. He triumphed against all odds, 3 against 1, and he won. I'm celebrating his life. This man is a hero in Texas right now. He killed 2 out of 3 of the people that broke into his home. He lived. He survived. So I tell people, you have to be not just careful, but strategic about where you choose to live and raise your family, because guess what? You might not be so lucky. And if you are lucky, you're going to have to worry about the authorities coming to put you in prison for protecting yourself and your family from criminals, depending on where you live. That's why the values in my neighborhood are so high and why they are so stable, because in Texas, you can protect yourself when the element comes for you. And eventually somebody's going to come for all of us. They've come for me in the past. I'm still here. People are gone. You have to be careful about where you choose to live. You got to know your local laws. In California, I've done videos on these home invasions, and when the homeowner fought back and shot the person, he went to jail. Now, eventually he's exonerated, but you're sitting in jail with no bail for what, 2-3 years until you get before a jury. Then you have to start your whole life all over again. Your family hasn't had you for years. Your kids haven't had you. Your girlfriend's cheating on you while you're in prison for just defending yourself. But you chose to live in California. And you know what they say? Ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking it. So yeah, you didn't know those were the laws in this state, that you couldn't defend yourself, but now you found out the hard way. You have to be mindful of where you are, who you are, and where you live, and what are the laws. Is this a constitutional city where you have the right to bear arms and you can not just have it, but if I use it in self-defense, am I going to get prosecuted for it? Now, if you're in Austin, Texas, they'll prosecute you because it's a little wannabe cutout of Los Angeles, but not Houston. See, Houston is the great state of Texas. Houston is where you want to be in case they ever come for you. That's why I said this is the best city in the country. I'd say it's in the top 5 in the world, in my opinion, and I've been all over the world. I travel to a lot of places. I've lived a lot of places. I speak 5 languages. I do my thing. And I've lived all over the United States. I kind of just move around wherever I want to go. This is the safest and smartest place to be in the United States. Let's finish the rest of the story.
Police say they believe this was drug related.
We do believe this to be a targeted incident. There's a large amount of narcotics found in the apartment. We've got our homicide investigators here. Our narcotics investigators will also be helping on the investigation. So we do not think there's a danger to the general public. This is a targeted thing, a home invasion to do basically a narcotics ripoff. So.
And who gives a fuck? I mean, yeah, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Yeah, you killed the guys and you're going to get off for murder, but they found drugs in your apartment. You're going to have to probably go to jail for that. But hey, at least you're alive. See, if they're putting you in jail, that means there's still blood and your body's still warm. While these guys are freezing right now in a freezer somewhere at a morgue, you're alive. Yeah, you might have to go to jail. You're in a holding cell, but God blessed you with more time on this earth for you to change your ways and start working and being productive and not committing crimes. Maybe you don't have to sell drugs. You can do other things with your life. You have a new lease on life. And after going through a near-death experience, because let's make no mistakes about it. The survivor here had a near-death experience. He is going to be a different man tomorrow. When he wakes up in jail and they give him his food, the milk's going to be a little bit sweeter. The frosted flakes they give you are going to be a little bit crispier. And that sun is going to feel a little bit warmer when you're back when you're free. And you're not going to want to live like that anymore. That's what that does to you. If God gives you a test like this man had today, and you are able to come out alive on the other side, you don't want to, you realize that life is a gift. And for you to waste your time and to, commit crimes, and when you could be more productive, you realize that you're wasting God's gift. He's going to feel different tomorrow, and he's going to change his life. For some of us, that's what it takes. Sometimes you committing crimes for so long, you don't even know it's illegal. Like drinking and driving. You think you got away with it a million times. It must not be really that bad. You shouldn't do it. And if you're out here selling drugs and it's against the law, you shouldn't do it. They're talking about narcotics, so I'm pretty sure they're not saying that he had a bunch of weed in his house, but it doesn't matter. The fact is, people were willing to kill him to take what he had. Maybe you shouldn't have that stuff that people want to kill you for, but if you're willing to kill somebody, then, I tell people, whenever you have an altercation or the rules of engagement, no matter how many people you're with, how many guns you have, your odds never change. They're always 50-50 that you're going to survive. You could be a giant and you could be fighting a midget. Your odds are still 50-50 that you're going to come out on top and win. But it could also go the other way. A windfall of luck could go in the favor of your opponent, and good luck for them means that you're dead, because that means you got all the bad luck. There is no draw. So yeah, he's probably going to do some time for the narcotics. Big deal. At least you're alive. At least the gift of life is still in your hands, and I feel like he's going to make the best of it. This was a near-death experience. This will change you. I had a near-death experience a few years ago, but it was based on my poor decision-making, my bad actions. And when I realized that I survived this near-death experience, I said, I'm changing my ways. I changed my behaviors. I changed my habits. I changed the things I was doing at the time. I don't do those no more. But you're going to have to almost lose your life sometime before you can fully appreciate the life that you have. We spend a lot of time, unfortunately, talking about all the things that we don't have instead of being grateful for the things that we do. These are some of the best times in your life right now. You don't even know it. You still have certain family members that are still alive right now. You have your pets, they're alive. There's things that once you lose them in the future, you'll realize that right now, the times that you're taking for granted, that you're complaining about, these were the best times. Whatever this man was wrapped up in, even he wasn't willing to lose his life over it, and he protected himself. One day you're going to be tested. You're going to have to do the same. Make sure you're in a place where you can survive the test.
Now, investigators are saying that one suspect got away. They're still looking for that suspect. As of right now, they're not sharing a description as they're working to learn more details. So far, no charges have been filed, but they say that may change. We'll continue to give you the very latest updates as soon as they are released.
Now, in California, that third suspect would be charged for the murder of the two people that died. I don't know how that works in Texas, but in California, if it's three of you guys trying to commit an armed robbery and two people get killed, they're going in by the person you're trying to rob. They're not going to charge the person that killed you. They're going to charge you with their murders because you guys are all together in the commission of a crime, and you shouldn't have been there, and you shouldn't have been doing it. So I'm not sure how it works in Texas. I need to find out. But I'm just glad the man's alive, and that's why we celebrate with the Texas anthem.
Boys cry yippee-yi, deep in the heart of Texas, the doggies bawl. Deep in the heart of Texas, deep in the heart of Texas.
Yee-hoo! Man, do you know how good it feels knowing that you're in Texas and you have a gun? So that means you have a chance? Do you know how dangerous this country is? People are being set on fire on subways because they don't have guns in those areas. People are getting stabbed in the throat on the bus because they don't have weapons and there's all these dangerous people around them. But I'm not supposed to be specific about who's the dangerous person. I'm supposed to just be innocuous and say, oh, it could be anybody. Nah, we all know who I'm talking about. And that's why you need a gun, because you're coexisting in a country with them. And you got to be careful. They're dangerous. So, and there's a lot of crazy people out here that are willing to do whatever for $1, and they'll do you. People are out here, think about it. You're trying to rob somebody. If you kill them, you don't know how much money they have on them. You might have only done it for $5. So that means your life wasn't worth anything to these people. Make sure you live somewhere where you can protect yourself. Don't be a victim. I'll be back on live in about 20 minutes with the story about the unfortunate man in New York. People was hitting me that yesterday, and I want to do a segment about it. So remember, America first, America only, and I'll be back shortly.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.